Now, as we saw in the previous lesson, we have a subassembly here called moving parts that's comprised of components that should move. However, because SOLIDWORKS treats subassemblies as rigid bodies by default, the entire mechanism cannot be moved. For a subassembly to be allowed to move, you must define it as flexible. To do this, right-click on the subassembly in the Feature Manager tree and select Properties. On the right of the Properties dialog box, you'll see two options for solving this assembly, either rigid or flexible. I'll change this to flexible, click OK, and return to the assembly. Now watch as I move the crank. The components of the moving parts subassembly are allowed to move. In cases where you have multiple instances of a subassembly, each instance can be defined as flexible or rigid. If I create a copy of this subassembly, I can access the new instance properties and select the solution to rigid. When I drag this new instance, it now behaves like a single rigid body, while the first instance is still allowed to move. To help you keep track of which subassemblies are flexible and which are rigid, SOLIDWORKS displays a different icon for each in the Feature Manager tree.